The Rocky Horror Picture Show creator Richard O'Brien opens up about his 1975 musical comedy, which is now playing as a hymn to the American dream going sour.
When we first came out with this show, I wouldn't have said it was important. I wouldn't have said it was even a social piece of theatre, not muscular in any kind of way. It was just simply an entertainment, and an entertainment that was full of those, high school dropout things that I loved as a child. I'm a child of the Forge of War baby, of course. So in the 1950s, for me, when the American dream came true, was a perfect playground for a teenage boy, especially one who was into rock and roll, because that was delivered to me as well. And it's I think Rocky Horror now is a kind of a hymn to the American dream going sour. It wasn't ever intended to be that, but it could be viewed as that now.
His son Linus O'Brien directed Strange Journey, the story of Rocky Horror, a new documentary about the lasting impact of the cult film that premiered in the US on September 26, 1975. The movie became a lasting cult hit after midnight screenings in New York that turned increasingly participatory and interactive, and which eventually spread across the US and world. They involve audience-shouted responses to on-screen dialogue, props like water guns and newspapers, and even shadow casts that act out the drama in front of the movie screens.
I think if it was just a popular movie like Jaws or something like that, you'd go, okay, well, yeah, maybe it is a bit boring looking back. But I think the thing is that people have imbued it with so much love and care and joy that it's an absolute pleasure looking back and to hear the stories of people's lives being changed by it, and literally saved by it. When we hear the stories of a man who told me that he and his wife met at Rocky 32 years ago, and the wife wanted to tell me and my dad that if it wasn't for Rocky, she wouldn't be here today. It takes on a completely different dimension and takes it kind of out of the piece that you're looking at, and kind of, I don't know, just takes it to beyond the work of art and beyond that, because it's affecting people's lives in a very tangible way. So it doesn't get boring looking back when people are telling you those stories. I think if you got bored by that, then you're not really taking on board their stories, and that would be a shame. That would be tragic.
The Rocky Horror story began on the London stage when O'Brien, then a struggling actor just fired from Jesus Christ Superstar, wrote the outline of a script and the first few songs out of a need to find some steady work as a new father. He co-starred as Riff Raff in the first stage run of the musical, and then in the film, which included many of the cast members from the original London and Los Angeles theatre productions. The younger O'Brien first watched Rocky Horror when he was 4, and says many viewers have shared their stories of how it changed their lives.
I think for many years he did dismiss Rocky as kind of just a bit of frivolous fun. And I think it's over the last, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, as it's reached the 50th anniversary, I think the stories of how Rocky has affected people's lives is really, I don't know, it seems to be really, he's taken that on board and kind of accepted and embraced the people who Rocky means so much to. So that's been nice, because I don't like him when he's dismissive of his work and his songs. So I'm glad he's not doing that anymore.
While the story is draped in nostalgia for some of the sci-fi and horror movies that O'Brien grew up on, it's also transgressive and provocative in its open embrace of sexuality and gender fluidity. Richard O'Brien hopes it stands as a tribute to LGBTQ rights in the US.